Welcome to Healing in Progress. On this episode of the Healing in Progress podcast, we are going to be healing through intentional endings. This is the season finale of season 1 of the Healing in Progress podcast. I didn't even know I was going to have seasons, y'all, but I figured just like nature has its seasons and has its rhythms, it's okay for us to have a season too. So before we get into it, I want to take an opportunity to just take a deep breath, to pause, just inhale, and exhale. What a beautiful journey this has been. There have been so many lessons in the curation of these conversations, of these interviews, of these experiences that we've been having on Healing in Progress. It's been amazing. I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about my friends. Through your messages and your comments and your feedback, I've learned so much about you as well. And I couldn't have imagined it. I couldn't have imagined how impactful this would have been on my life in this season. And I feel like in this season, I needed to take time for myself to get to know myself a little bit better. And I'm grateful to have had an audience with me as I've done that. I started this podcast thinking that it was just going to be about my healing journey and basically showing what healing looks like as I go through it. And while it was that, it was so much more. It was an opportunity for me to get closer to myself. It was an opportunity to learn from those around me who have had such a deep impact on me. It was an opportunity on me for me to reflect on the things that I didn't even realize I had been carrying. Some memories, like from our episode with Angelina, our natural hair episode, and just thinking about the memories of hair and how my hair journey has shaped my life up until this point, and how my hair has always been changing with me as I've changed, even sometimes before big shifts in my life. How in my conversation with Jolena and my conversation with Desiree, I learned to go back and look back at all the really pivotal moments for me, like being a birth worker and how passionate I was about that and am about that still, or how being an activist and being in community and organizing has been so important for me. All these things kind of shifted away from me in the past few years as I focused all my energy, time, and attention into being an entrepreneur, running a storefront, running an e-commerce store. I hadn't had time to sit down and really experience what that was like, what sacrifices I made to do that. While it was beautiful in itself and it served its purpose for my life and for the life of many in my community in so many ways, I didn't have time during that period to really sit and reflect on all these things that this podcast has allowed me to do. For that, I'm really grateful. I'm thankful that there were so many of you who wanted to listen, who have had questions, who have had thoughts that you've shared with me, who have just taken the time to allow me into your life and get to know me a little bit better as I get to learn myself a little bit better. I ask you, what have you released that is no longer serving you in this period? And what have you learned about yourself throughout this time of checking into the podcast? As a collective, so many of us are wearing so much that doesn't actually belong to our wardrobe. We're carrying so much weight that doesn't belong to us. We're moving through life as in ways that we feel like we're expected to, and not necessarily in ways that are aligned with our destiny, our purpose, and our assignment. As I learned from my episode with Ilona in Human Design, I've been moving through life as a manifesting generator when I'm a projector. And just changing how I operate and navigate in spaces has allowed me to heal from some of the burnout that I've had. As a projector, I've learned that I need to be invited into things instead of inviting myself into things. So now I'm not as tired because I'm sitting back and waited to be invited. waiting to be invited to step in instead of just stepping in and exerting all of my energy when it's not always required. I am not always the hero. I am not always team captain, the leader, the one that has to hold everything together. And when I started this podcast, I truly thought that's what this podcast was going to be about, is Jazz being the hero, learning in what ways Jazz has shown up as the hero. And I intentionally wanted to put the mask down, take the cape off, and really get to know who I am under the mask and the cape. And I feel like I've gotten closer to her. I feel like what I thought would be conversations about being the strong one kind of turned into how I felt underneath all of that. And it being, I'm still reflecting on this, so give me time to work through it. I feel like I thought that the podcast was going to be about taking the cape off, putting the mask down, and being the superhero and reflecting on the different ways that I was. But I think instead I focused on a lot of ways that I wasn't. And that in itself is healing. That in itself has brought me so much clarity. I find joy in seeing my areas of vulnerability, seeing areas that I've kind of persevered through and pushed through, not even recognizing the toll that it was taking on me, on my mental health, on my physical health. There are so many things that this podcast taught me, and one of them was that there was a season for this. Now it's time for the off season. It's time to integrate all of these lessons that I've been taking in and learning instead of just breezing through and continuing to go, and go. Normally, that's what I would do. Normally, I would just keep going, interview after interview after interview, conversation after conversation. But I've truly been healing through this process. And when you're constantly on go mode, there's not a lot of time for you to integrate the lessons that you've been learning and experiencing into your journey. And I don't want to be in grind anymore. I want to ground. And this opportunity to take this break is going to allow us to take our time with season 2. There were a lot of lessons learned in the recording of this, and I'm really proud of me and Sharik for showing up and stepping into something that that we were unfamiliar with, and that also made us uncomfortable in many ways. We had to learn how to do things imperfect and be okay with it. There's a lot of fear and hesitation around putting things out into the world that aren't refined, that aren't flawless. And that's taking away pieces of your authenticity when you do that. And I'm learning it. I feel like throughout this podcast, we've truly figured out the flow of how we want it to show up visually and sound audibly in the past few episodes. And even still, we have hiccups. We're still figuring it out. We're using all these different technologies and everything like that. This ain't normal to us. While we are often producing content and putting stuff out, it's very curated and it's on our time, and it's when we want to do things. But with the podcast, we committed to releasing weekly episodes before even realizing the commitment that it would take to produce weekly episodes. So we jumped into it because it is a passion. It is healing, and it is loved by us to do. But we also can't wait to have a period of downtime. This has become a little bit more than a passion project because we didn't know what we were expecting. Now we know. It's become a little bit more time consuming than we prepared for. So we decided let's take a pause, not only for us to integrate, but for us to plan ahead for season 2. So in season 2, I can't wait to have on more folks that have truly made an influence in my life. I can't wait to just hear from others about how healing has shown up for them in their life in ways outside of me. Because what I've recognized in community is that we don't always have these conversations, but there's so many of us that go through so many similar things. But until we peel back the surface, we don't even realize it because many of us still have on the mask. This level of vulnerability that has been shown here, that has been heard here, is these conversations are not being held by the masses. And for that, I am so grateful to have been trusted with this truth, with this energy that folks have shown up with when they've sat in this chair with me. I'm proud of myself for being able to go from episode 1, where I could barely be on the camera and on the mic without my voice shaking and being all nervous and anxious about what I'm going to say, to being here on episode 12 and okay with not knowing what I'm talking about and still trusting that what I'm talking about is resonating. Like I said, it's really been quite an incredible experience. I've also been inspired to do many more things throughout this process with Healing in Progress. And I'm now seeing where I want to go forward with my wellness coaching services. So I'll be dropping a program soon-ish, in between season 1 and season 2, that kind of reflects the layout of this podcast and how it's been for me, because I found so much healing through it. I've actually lived through it. I'm working through it. And I see that it's working. And I want it to be an offering that I have for those of you here who it resonates with. So that's something that I got coming in the pipeline. But I don't really have a lot of time to do that when all my time I'm filling with things. I have to sit back, be still, and stop committing to so much. And I've been doing that throughout this Cancer season, Capricorn full moon energy. As a person who is a Capricorn moon, I connect deeply to the energy of Capricorn in the push, in the grind, in the fortitude. And at the same time, I respect when it's time to soften. And that's the season that I'm in right now. I am being filled with all these creative ideas. I'm excited to spend more time with myself. Y'all, I've been like what I call hobby frolicking for 3 months. I feel like I've been bouncing around from hobby to hobby. I'm learning how to swim. I was painting. I am going to start roller skating. I picked up Pilates. I've been doing combat classes in the gym. I've been doing a bunch of random stuff and growing microgreens and all of the things that I didn't have time to do before. And the only thing different is that I chose to let go of things that were creating blockages for me. And right now, I'm kind of doing the same thing by creating an intentional ending to this season. Not that this podcast has created any blockages for me, but I started it without preparation. And without preparation, I've had to work a bit harder. And I don't want to work hard anymore. I want to work more intentionally. So with this intentional ending, I look forward to having the opportunity to grow so much more within myself and allow the offerings, the fruits of my growth, to benefit those I'm most closest to and those I'm building connections with, and deepen my relationship with myself even. Because healing is in progress, and it's never that I've reached this state of healed. I'm still healing in so many ways. I went on a hike this week, and I said I was going to talk about it on this episode because it was really reflective for me. It whooped me. Like I was exhausted on this hike, and I'll give myself some grace because we were in about 8,000, 9,000 feet altitude. That's not normal. Okay, that is not normal. We were walking a steep climb also, and it was whipping me. And I started to reflect about whether or not I like to choose struggle on my journeys, or if I would just rather be dropped off at the destination. Like, am I a journey girly or am I a destination girly? Like, do I want to avoid difficulty and just experience the beauty and the amazingness of the destination. And I don't think that I want to skip the journey, but I want to choose my heart. I recognize that a lot of us, myself, my friends I was on the hike with, we choose difficulty because we like to be challenged. And I love being challenged too. But how many times will we choose difficult to prove to ourselves and to everyone else that we are capable enough and strong enough to do things? For me, it was like, why am I hiking up this mountain? And while I'm glad I did it and I needed the cardio, I needed the experience, I wouldn't have had the reflections without the experience. I thought to myself when I was winded and tired, I don't always need to choose the most difficult thing. There were two paths we could have taken. One trail was really steep. The other trail would have been a little bit easier. I said, let's go up the hard one. I'm a naturally competitive person again, all my earth placements. There are no regrets here. But what I'm saying is it allowed me to realize that I choose difficulty because I want to prove to myself that I can do things. And I was not enjoying the hike as much because I feel like I was fighting for my life. I was fighting for my life so much during that hike, just trying to catch my breath, that it took me away from noticing the things around me. I wasn't appreciating the lush green in some patches. I wasn't listening to the wind rustling between the leaves. I wasn't smelling the scents of nature. I was trying to survive. And it occurred to me that while we're in survival mode, we oftentimes don't have the opportunity to take a moment and reflect on where we are and the beauty around us, because we're constantly just trying to make it to the destination. I've gone on hikes before. I've done the hiking thing plenty of times. Yeah, I still choose to do difficult hikes and difficult things. And then in the moment when my ass is getting beat, I regret every decision that I've ever made. And again, super grateful that I went on this hike because that's where all these realizations came up for me. But I also don't feel like that's a hike that I'll necessarily feel the need to do again. It was tough. The destination was beautiful. But would I gladly be airdropped in that space instead of hiking up the mountain? Absolutely. Because I've done it before. I don't need to choose that hard again. But I recognize that time and time again, I've chosen the same hard because I haven't recognized that a lot of that choice is wanting to prove that I can do it. I know I can do it. I know I have the tenacity to push myself through anything. I could do it without question, but do I need to? I could keep going with these episodes, but do I need to? I've learned time and time again what burnout looks like for me. Do I need to keep learning that lesson over and over again? Or should I start appreciating? I should give myself a destination. I've arrived at that destination. That destination for me is episode 12. I've arrived here. I'm happy here. This looks really good. I don't have to move the goalpost. For a long time, I've seen in myself that I will not necessarily give myself a measurable, definitive ending point because I'm constantly moving the goalposts because I think that I can go further. So why not just keep going? Why not keep pushing? That takes me away from being able to truly appreciate the journey and experience the destination. I need to arrive somewhere that makes my challenge, that makes the hard I just experienced worth it. And if I keep moving the goalpost every single time, I'll never truly appreciate how the journey has been because I'll keep choosing hard. Life is already hard enough in so many ways. I don't need to do it extra. I don't need to be the best at getting through hard. I need to be the best for myself with however that looks. And for me, I'm choosing ease. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think it makes you weaker. I don't think it makes you lazy to choose an easy life. My mentor said to me yesterday, we're so free, we sometimes choose bondage. I said, whoa, that was deep. We are so free that sometimes we choose bondage. I recognize that I've chosen bondage in many ways because I don't know how to let go of things when it's time. So I'm bound, feeling stuck and stagnant, when really I'm just afraid to let go. I'm choosing that because sometimes we're familiar with it and it's comfortable for us. So we choose the most challenging thing because we're used to struggle. We're used to pushing through. If it's too easy, what are we doing? I don't like that for me. I don't like that for you. I don't like that for my homegirls. I want us to choose ease because we deserve it. We deserve to have a soft life. And it doesn't make you any less than. Before our sound bath last night for the Capricorn full moon, I opened up the 7 spiritual laws of success, and the one that I turned to was the law of least effort. It states that the grass does not try to grow, it just grows. The sun does not try to shine, it just shines. Human nature is to manifest without effort. We don't need to grind ourselves down in order to manifest the life that we want to live. Yet we've been conditioned to believe that the harder we work, the more rewarding our outcome. And when we find our outcome, whether or not we are satisfied with it, we still will choose over and over again to work hard, 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 because that's the way we think is the best way to get to the next destination in our life. I want more for less. That is the law of the universe. I want more for exerting less energy. One of my affirmations is I want to make more and do less. I don't know how this is happening for me, and that ain't my business. God is working for me for my highest good. I know that. I know that because the seeds that I sow are seeds of love. So the fruits that I bear will be fruits of goodness and for my best good and my highest good and my highest needs. I don't doubt that for a second. And having this awareness and having this confidence that the universe is holding me so well in its hands that I know I'm good. I can't at the same time allow doubt, fear, and worry to exist within that same mind. You either believe it or you don't. And I truly believe that's for me is for me. And it's already manifesting for me. And how it's manifesting, I have no idea. I was saying on that hike too, I have no idea what the destination looks like in my life right now. But I'm here for the journey. I'm here on the ride. And I'm choosing the path of least resistance on purpose. Because I'll be damned if I spend my days stressed out, angry and worried, on top of all the things that are already happening in the world. There's enough of that for us to feel already, on top of us creating that in our reality. Remember, external chaos does not require internal disturbance as well. We don't have to be internally in disharmony because of everything that's happening externally. So I'm choosing softness. I'm choosing peace of mind. I'm choosing joy. I'm choosing rest because these are things that I deserve. And these are things that you deserve also. So I can't wait for you all to see what is happening between now and season 2. Make sure you're following the Instagram page, healingandprogress.co, so that you'll see everything that we're dropping and all that, including merch like this shirt I have on right now. This came to me in a dream because I'm able to dream now because I'm actually getting good rest, because I'm actually choosing to not be stressed and worried about everything. I'm getting good rest, which is allowing my creativity to come through. crossed out the grind because I'm choosing ground. I'm choosing this. And I want you to choose it too. That's just one of the many things. Again, the coaching program. We have more content that we want to drop outside of the podcast, and we're going to get started on season 2 of the podcast. I'm going to be reaching out to our followers, asking for your input on what you think we should incorporate in season 2. I would like more feedback, more engagement from you all actually on the episodes. I want to hear some of your questions. I want to speak to you directly, so I'll be reaching out for that as well. So many things I'm looking forward to that are going to come from a space of rest and intention. There is no lack. Like we learned in the episode Healing Through Church Hurt with Reb D, God wastes nothing. There are no scraps. And so every single thing we've done here has been with intention, and everything we will do will be with intention. And we know that it's going to be aligning for where we're supposed to go, regardless of if we see it or not. Because God wastes nothing. So this has been a pleasure for me. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you, and just know we are coming back. Better and stronger, happier, all the things, all the good things, all the delicious blessings that the universe has for us. We are in receiving mode of those things. And I can't wait to see y'all too and connect in community and be aligned. So again, you can find us on Instagram at healingandprogress.co. All of our podcast episodes are on YouTube and on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts, that's where they are too. We're going to be sharing clips throughout the episodes or on the page that have resonated the most with us throughout the season. We're going to take time to make intentional content that promotes the episodes as they come out for season 2. But now we take a moment to reflect back on season 1. So this is the time that we're in. So we'll be sharing videos about that too. Yeah, I think that's all I have for our season finale. I think that's all I have. So I want to leave you with what I always leave you with. Healing starts when you stop pretending that you don't need it. So what is it that we need to face to heal through? Sit with that and let me know on season 2. Until then, this is Healing in Progress. Peace.